Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I don't quite know what this video is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be like a mental health diary, my experience with PMDD. I haven't quite decided, but I wanted to start somewhere because, well, we'll just get into it. Today in like an hour, 2 hours, an hour and a half, I have my appointment with my gynecologist for an unrelated event, but I want to talk to her about PMDD. And I don't even know if she's the right person to go to. I don't know if they can even diagnose. I don't know who diagnoses. I'm not really sure. I don't have a psychiatrist, so I don't know. But I discovered PMDD about a year ago. Basically, Reese is a content creator that I found about a year ago, and she is very open with her mental health struggles. That's kind of the focus of her channel, and she has PMDD. And that was my first ever like introduction to PMDD, the idea that it might be a thing. And I have struggled my entire life, as long as I can remember. I don't really have many memories from childhood, but I have always had really bad bouts of depression, anxiety, and just various other symptoms. And I thought it was normal, and I thought it was, you know, just like me just being me, and maybe I had all of these different things, and I just like went to therapy and I did all of this stuff, and I never associated it with my period. If you don't know, PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and so it basically is when your hormones get really bad around your period. So like it's a very extreme version of PMS. And I had never like associated it with my period because I get 2 periods a month, and I went on Nexplanon maybe 3 years ago, and my periods went down to 1 period a month, and I, you know, still had the symptoms. Birth control is supposed to kind of minimize those symptoms, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and I still had all of the regular symptoms. And then recently I started going to 2 periods a month again, and I don't know why. And the December and January periods, it's February 14th. My December and January periods have been really, really bad. The PMS has been really, really bad. And I discovered PMDD, and I was like, you know, this might be something, and then started getting worse, and I was like, I need to do something about this. So I started looking up resources online. I will link below a podcast that I found recently that I think is very helpful if you think you might have it, or you know someone that has it, or if you think someone you know has it. And I was watching it, and it was very reminiscent of what I experienced, like almost down to a T. And I wanted somewhere that I could talk about it because, like I said, I didn't even know PMDD was a thing. It was just that I happened to stumble across a creator that had PMDD, and like something in 1 in 20 women experience it, and it's just wild that we know nothing about it. So to sort of give you an idea of what it's like for me, the 7 to 10 days before my period starts, when you're sort of like in that premenstrual ovulation period sort of deal, it starts with a lot of anxiety, and I can't focus. So I get very scatterbrained, and I sort of have to jump around from like task to task. I can't focus on one thing, and it feels like I am like vibrating out of my skin, almost like I cannot sit still. It's impossible for me to sit still and do one thing. And then I become increasingly irritable, very sensitive to other people's responses to me. I will sort of like see people as angry when they're not really angry, and the idea of someone having a negative reaction to me is like overwhelming. I get incredibly sensitive in, like, I'll cry over the littlest things, and then my, like, depression starts. It becomes very, very hard for me to get out of bed and to do anything. I will go to work, and then I'll come home and I will get in bed and I'll stay in bed until bedtime, basically, and then I just never leave the bed. It becomes, everything just feels very dark. Everything just feels very, like, hopeless. Like, it's hard for me to imagine why I should even get out of bed, why I should even continue, and it just gets worse. And then I get to a point where my period hits and it just, like, goes away. The anxiety goes away, the depression goes away, the, like, super sensitive feelings go away, and everything just feels really normal. And that's sort of, like, been the hallmark for a while. I do still have, like, symptoms associated with my period, but I can so clearly see in my head where my PMDD starts, and it's wild to me that I never noticed, because, like I said before I got on Nexplanon, I had 2 periods a month, so I was constantly in that state, or I was on my period. So I just, like, I never connected the two things. Like, I never thought about it, because how would I know to think about it, you know? And so I wanted to get a diagnosis, and the 2 things that they use to help you with PMDD is birth control, which I'm already on, and SSRIs, so, like, antidepressants and stuff like that. And everybody's decision to use antidepressants and things like that are their own, and I haven't quite made up my mind on how I'm going to manage it yet, but I just want that diagnosis. I want a word or something to say, like, this is what it is. It's not me. I'm not out of control. I'm not a completely different person, because it feels like I'm completely out of my body. I have no control of what I'm doing or saying or feeling, and the littlest things will set me off, and that's just not usually how I am. I'm a very, like, steady person. I'm very in control of my feelings, and I can logically really work through anything, but I'm not, yeah, I feel completely out of control, and I can't do anything about it, and I can't, like, stop myself. And so I'll have these, like, absolute fits where I, like, lose control of my emotion. Everything gets so bad that I just have to, like, explode. Like, I don't have a choice, and, like, explode, and that's kind of what happens. And then afterwards, I feel terrible. I feel so much shame around the fact that I have hurt someone possibly in my life that I love, that I don't want to hurt, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I need to do something. Because I feel, and I think it's connected to at least the couple of bad spells. The way that I understand it is, you can have really bad months, and then you can have, you know, perfectly fine months. And these past couple of months have been horrid, and I just need to feel in control of my emotions, of myself, and I don't know what to do, and I haven't figured out how to manage it. I have, you know, found recommendations for what you can do and how you can manage it, or, you know, things that worked for other people that I'm definitely going to try out, but I don't know, and I don't know. That's my resounding thing, and I wanted to talk about it because I imagine the thing with this, and I think this is the thing that is the worst about this, because so even if you are in the lowest of lows and you feel like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you can get yourself to a place where you can see that it's going to end, and it's incredibly hard, you can. But the thing with this is it's very isolating, because you feel like you have fucked up, like you've hurt people, and you are just like the worst human being in the world, and you're just awful, and you're worthless, and you don't know why anybody loves you, and it feels like so overwhelming. And so when you get out of it, you don't want to talk about it, you want to hide it from people, you don't want to talk to your friends while it's happening or after about it, to kind of like get it off your chest, because you feel so much shame, like, why can't I handle this, and why are they able to get through it but I can't? And it's overwhelming, and it's hard, and it's frustrating, and it's isolating, and I don't know how to manage it. So I'm gonna go to my gynecology appointment. I'm gonna talk to my nurse practitioner about it, and hopefully if she can't point me in the right direction, or she can't help me, she can point me in a direction that I can go to. And another aspect of this is, like, I work for a nonprofit. When I took the job, I didn't have health insurance. I was on my mom's health insurance until I was 26. And then when I turned 26, I had to get off of it, and I went on marketplace insurance, and I never got sick, ever. Like, I never utilized insurance or anything like that. And so I went with a really, really high deductible, because I never thought that I would need it, really. And anything that I would need, like my yearly exams, like I could just do, you know, I could just pay. And then I went into the hospital for my blood disorder, and it was a lot of money. It was really expensive. And then I was going to get some surgeries in the beginning of the year, and I couldn't afford them. Like, the beginning of this year, and I couldn't afford them. And, like, I could get my diagnosis and she could point me in the right direction, but I have to pay for everything out of pocket, and what do I do with it? Like, what do I do with that? What do I do? What if I can't pay? What if I can't get help? So, I don't quite know what I want this video to be yet. So yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be, like, we might come back when I'm about to start the cycle and kind of take you through my daily emotions and what's happening, or this might go on longer than that. I haven't really decided yet how I want to do it, and I don't know, but I wanted to talk about this first step because it's really hard, and no one I know has it or knows what I'm feeling, because my mom hasn't had a period in 20 years, I think. She hasn't had one since I was a kid, and she has said that she feels very similarly, just like when I talked to her about this, because it can be genetic, and she said that she felt things very similar. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. And now that I'm actually on my period, I feel emotional and all of those things for my period, but it's like, yeah, it's great. Even though I'm like crying and I'm upset because this is very emotional, overall, like, I'm good and I can see a way forward. It's just sometimes I can't. So, okay. I don't know what's coming next, but I guess we'll talk later. Good morning, friends. It is several days after I filmed that initial clip, and I am currently on my period, but I just sort of wanted to give you an update on what happened at my appointment and like my steps moving forward. So the actual process itself for getting diagnosed, I went to my gynecologist and I explained to her what was going on. I explained to her my symptoms, mood symptoms, health symptoms, everything, like everything that goes on, because I've been tracking everything. Thankfully, my nurse practitioner is great, very understanding, very sweet, very attentive. I asked a bunch of questions and stuff like that, and she said, you show the hallmark symptoms of PMDD. You have like every symptom basically, and I also think that you just have generalized anxiety and depression, which I do. And we had a good talk for a good 30 minutes. We explored options for treatment and stuff, and she said either we can switch you to the pill, because I have Nexplanon, which is an arm insert that's good for 3 years, but it doesn't do much in regards to hormones. Like, it doesn't really balance your moods or anything like that. It's strictly like a sterilization situation, and for some women it can take their periods away, but for me it just like lessened my period. Like I said, I had 2 periods before, now I have 1 period, so it affects your period and your symptoms, but it doesn't do anything hormonally. She said we can take you off of Nexplanon and we can get you on the pill and see if that will sort of like balance out your hormones. And I said I wasn't really interested in that. I've been on the pill previously and it just doesn't really work for me. I was very upfront with her about what I was willing to do, what I was willing to take, because I'm always like that with doctors, with therapists, stuff like that. If I'm going to them for help for something, I want to be as honest and transparent as I can be, so that we can get to a good place for myself as quickly as possible. So I never want to make it hard for them. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of distrust. I myself have experienced doctors who basically told me that what I was feeling, like, I'll get over it and all of that. But I still try to remain as open as I can until the doctor shows me that they don't, like, that I shouldn't be. And I also specifically request women for every doctor that I see, except my hematologist, who I didn't really have like a super big say in, because he was just the hematologist that was in the hospital when I went. And I just feel more comfortable with women. I don't want any biases that men have about women. I don't want a man trying to tell me how I feel. Like, when you look up books and stuff about PMDD in particular, but about women's health in general, it's always like men's guides to getting through it and how to deal with it. And it's like, you have no idea as a cis man how to deal with this. So that's a whole other tangent, but I am very open and honest with medical professionals about how I'm feeling. And we discussed treatment, and she talked about SSRIs and would I be willing to take SSRIs. And I said, which is just like antidepressants, anti-anxiety, I said that I 100% understand people who take it. Like, I'm all for medication. I understand its uses and all of that. But I myself am scared to get it on it because of the side effects of taking a wrong SSRI. You can get on an antidepressant that is perfect for you, balances your hormones, and you don't have any bad side effects. But I'm scared of the wrong one having really bad side effects. And so she was like, that's very fair. Let's put you on a low dosage of Prozac and see how that does. We'll check in 4 to 6 weeks from now, once you're out of your period cycle, and we'll see how the Prozac has done. I agreed, and I told her, like, listen, if it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna use THC. I have used gummies previously to regulate anxiety, to help deal with anxiety. I took the Prozac, it's 10 milligrams, and I started taking it yesterday, and this is my second day taking it. And I also had to make some decisions about what I was going to do to manage the symptoms aside from medication. And one of the major things was, like, I really need to start taking care of myself. I'm really bad about not doing that. I don't cook proper meals if I'm not with somebody else. If it's just me, like, I will just eat snacks and it doesn't fill me up. I don't exercise. Like, I will sit in bed all day and it destroys my body. And I would just want to say, when I'm getting into these, like, treatments that I've decided to take on for myself, this is what I feel is right for me. I'm in no way saying that it'll be right for you or that I think that you should do it. You understand your own body, and I'm just trying to figure out how to manage it for myself. And I don't know the right way. No one knows the right way. Only you know what is the right way for you, and you have to find out through trial and error, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to find out through trial and error what I think will make me feel better. So I get in bed and I don't exercise, I don't move. I go to work and I sit in a chair, and then I come home and I lay in bed. And I know that that's hurting my back. It's been hurting my back for a long time, and I just don't feel good in my own body. And I also don't drink enough water. I don't eat good meals. Like I said, I don't eat appropriate meals. I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat lunch. And then we don't eat dinner until 9 p.m. And I will have, like, a snack when I get home, whenever that happens to be. So I'm not eating properly, and I'm just not taking care of myself mentally, physically. And so I've decided that going forward, I am going to try to eat a breakfast every morning. So eggs, a boiled egg, and a bagel, or a smoothie. I'm gonna bounce around the smoothie idea and see how that works. I have started making lunch for myself for when I go into the office. It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Nothing too crazy, nothing too hard to do. And then I'm just gonna batch make these and the eggs at night. And I need to start eating lunch. Like, I have snacks and stuff at work, but I need to eat a proper meal. So I'm gonna start eating lunch. I'm going to try to drink one of these a day. I have been doing that on and off for a while. I'm just really bad about, I'll drink water, I'll drink my cup of coffee, and I'll drink water at work. And then when I get home, I'll drink sweet tea and occasionally, like, drink water. And I need to get better about that. So I need to be drinking more water for myself, for my skin, for my mental well-being, my physical well-being. And I'm also doing yoga daily. I started doing yoga with Adrian a couple of months ago, and then I just stopped doing it. And I want to take walks. It's finally starting to warm up outside, and I want to get out there. Like, the days that I get off work early, I want to take walks. And I'm gonna do the yoga and the walks very kind of slowly. I'm gonna start getting on a consistent yoga schedule, because that's something that I can do at home in the comfort of my own home. And then I'm going to branch off to doing walks when I feel comfortable with that. I can't go to the gym, if I had to be completely honest. I just can't do it. I can't be out as much. I have struggled with agoraphobia for a while. Back in 2019, when we purchased this house, I lost my job and I didn't leave the house for months. I stayed in, I ordered my groceries delivered. I didn't interact with anybody. I was terrified to go out, and that has sort of stuck. especially when COVID hit in the beginning of 2020 and we were incentivized to not go out and interact with people. It really stuck with me, and now I have this blood disorder that is triggered by COVID basically and other viruses, and so there's just a lot in me that keeps me from going out. And maybe one day I will feel comfortable branching out and start like doing my own grocery delivery or getting my own groceries. That's something I've been thinking about. But at the moment, I'm just not there with my comfortability with that. So I'm gonna start walking whenever I feel comfortable walking. I also want to start journaling because I want to keep extensive notes about my moods and just like stuff like that so that I can monitor it. I want to start keeping a close track on when my PMDD is going to start and sort of modulate things in my life around it. I don't want it to become something where I'm living, where it's like debilitating the rest of my life, but I also want to give it the space that it needs so that I am not overwhelming myself and feeling like I can't see an end in sight and I just can't do anything. And I want to give myself the grace during that period. And so I want to start tracking my moods. I want to start tracking my daily moods, even outside of PMDD and period. And I want to know when PMDD is going to happen. So that is kind of my plan going forward. I've talked for quite a while, and I'm sure that this plan is going to change and evolve. But that's just kind of where I'm at going forward. I'm gonna try to journal, gonna try to do yoga and walk, and I'm just gonna start eating appropriate meals and at the appropriate times and make sure that I am prioritizing my own health because I haven't been, and I don't want that. I don't want myself to be the reason that I get to the place that I was at, because I don't want to feel like that anymore. So if I can do anything to help, I'm gonna do it. So that's that. We're gonna come back when I am actually about to start my PMDD cycle. It is the 16th, and I started my period a couple of days ago, the day that I updated you. And so I'm not anticipating that my PMDD cycle will start for a couple of weeks. It is a shortened February, so I'm expecting PMDD to start around the 1st of March. So I'll come back around that time, or when it's, you know, when it starts, and we'll talk about how I'm feeling that day and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what we're gonna do going forward. Even if like 3 videos in a row of these like PMDD diaries are me just like being okay every single day, I still feel like it's important to journal, like track my feelings over a long span of time and get an idea of what's working for me and what's not, what's making a difference and what's not. And I want to talk about it so that if you are struggling, we can kind of be there for each other. We can not feel so alone, and someone can find this and know that my camera is going to cut off because I've been talking so long. Just know that you're not alone. So we'll come back. All right, so it is the 27th of February, and 2 days ago, maybe, I started having nipple sensitivity, which is usually the first symptom that I experience when a cycle starts. Then today, I started getting anxiety, and I think I'm also getting sick, and I'm also having, like, my wisdom teeth are cutting, and so that's like obviously compounding with it. But I like couldn't breathe, like I feel like I can't get a full breath. So I am back home from work, and I am making myself a peanut butter sandwich because the first thing that always goes whenever one of my episodes starts is I stop making food for myself if I'm alone. And I will just like get snacks and then go and eat in bed because I don't want to, you know, put in the energy to eat, like to make myself something. So I'm making myself food. So it's just like peanut butter, you know, on bread, not anything crazy. And then I'll probably eat like some chips or something like that. Had kind of a list of things that I wanted to do around the house today. And I think I'm just gonna take it easy. I'll worry about that later, I guess. And I don't want to force myself to do it. The only thing that I'm gonna do is yoga later. I am gonna make myself do that. But the rest of the night, I'm just going to read and hang out and chill. As the cycle goes on, I don't quite know like how cohesive I'm gonna be, because one of the things that I experience is like talking becomes really exhausting, and it's a lot easier for me to just like sit there and not talk. So I don't know how that's gonna go, but usually when I start feeling like this, tomorrow I will get like the buzzing feeling, and then it'll just go downhill from there. So I wanted to make sure that I'm starting it, even though I didn't really want to. So I'm gonna eat my food, and then I'm probably going to get on the couch and read, and then do some yoga a little bit later on. Like, I don't want to, but I'm gonna like make myself do it because I don't want to be laying on the couch beating myself up for the fact that I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna do those things, and I'll update you tomorrow with how I'm feeling. It is the 1st of March. I didn't want to film yesterday. I was home from work. I was home from work because I had a migraine, and I'm still not feeling the best, and I didn't want to be on camera. So I laid on the couch pretty much all day, and I did my yoga, and that's pretty much all I did. This morning I am running late. I overslept. Usually during these episodes I usually can't sleep, but this episode I've just been exhausted, and I don't know if that's like because I'm also sick or what. Yeah, I was like thinking this morning, I was like, it hasn't even been that bad. Like, maybe I've just been blowing this whole thing out of proportion, and I like started feeling guilty and stuff, and then I got up and was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, this is like, I feel like exhausted. I'm exhausted, and the idea of getting out of bed and going to work is exhausting, and I don't want to do it. And so yeah, thankfully yesterday night, while my partner was cooking dinner, I prepped some lunch for the rest of the week. It's Wednesday, so like I only have a couple days left, but I need to journal a little bit. I just don't really feel like I have anything to say, and I don't know. It's hard to be like, oh, I just need to journal and get out like all my feelings so that my mind will quiet or whatever, but it's like I don't really have anything going on like in my head that's overwhelming me, so I don't know, like, you know, I just feel bad. I don't want to go to work, but I can't call out. I don't think my medication has really made much of a difference. It hasn't been 4 weeks yet, much less 6. I just don't want to get up and go. And I know that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna be even more exhausted, and I have my mom coming over today to do laundry because she doesn't have laundry in her building. And I love my mom, and I love being around my mom, but the idea of like talking just sounds exhausting to me. I don't feel like I have anything much to say about that. Besides that, I'm just tired. I'm just tired, and I want to go back to sleep. I want to lay in bed and not do anything. So I'm gonna... Okay. I thought I would mention a couple of things aside from this. So if you are a reader, I would recommend that you reread a perfect book. You reread a book that you love when you are in an episode, just because it'll make you feel better. So I'm currently rereading Twilight. I haven't read it in a long time, but I wanted to see how it would make me feel. I also thought I could show you what I'm wearing, because thankfully I don't have a dress code at work. It's about to get loud because I have a bathroom fan. I don't have a dress code at work, so I am wearing this this like sweatshirt that used to be my dad's, and I'm also wearing these like joggers that have this little like emblem on them. I really prioritize comfort. Well, that's like, okay, it's very dark. That's like my daily wardrobe. I'm usually in jeans and a hoodie, but I usually try to wear something really easy to put on in the morning. And then also I couldn't shower yesterday. I just didn't have the energy. That's like one of the things that like goes out the window when I'm in an episode. I just like my personal hygiene, I just can't maintain it. That's just part of the facts, basically. That's just like one of the things. And I know that's like a very common depression symptom, is like so I'm probably just gonna wear my hair up. So that's that. Yeah. Okay, friends, it is March 2nd. Yesterday I didn't update you because I just really didn't want to be on camera again. And my mom came over, and did I update you yesterday? I can't remember what days I've updated. But yesterday I was not feeling the best. I was basically in the same mood as I was the day before, when I was talking about just not wanting to do anything, wanting to lay in bed. And I was having a lot of like negative self-talk. Just my self-talk is really about the way that I look, my body, things like that, how I'm going to eat, like what I'm gonna eat, how often I'm gonna eat. So I think about like starving myself and skipping meals. That's like my go-to when I'm feeling bad about myself. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna skip some meals until I lose weight. And that's not healthy, and I don't do it. But like that's my reoccurring thought. And so I will just like feel terrible about myself. I already have some like issues with my body already, and then it just like gets worse. Usually when I'm not in an episode, I have those thoughts and I can kind of like work through them, and then I can get to a point where I am like good, I'm fine, I'm back to like general apathy. I'm not like body positive, I'm body apathetic, if you will, about myself. And so usually I can just like get back to that very neutral space, but if I'm in an episode, it like will really spiral me. And I spiraled yesterday, and I just didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to talk like I said, I also was sick, and I'm like getting better. I don't have a lot of the same symptoms as I did previously, but so I'm just generally overall like not feeling good. And then today I started my period. So generally PMDD symptoms will start to ease when the period comes. So today has been like a better day. I still like definitely have the anxiety, like the tight chest, but I'm not as tired. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning, but that was just like general not wanting to go to work, because I just don't, like, who wants to go to work, you know? So I'm improving is what I'm saying. So I think I am going to just end the vlog here since my period has started and the symptoms will sort of ebb away, and I wanted to talk about the really bad days, I guess, so that you could sort of get an idea of what all happens, what it looks like, and how I was managing it. This vlog didn't go how I wanted it to, this latter portion, because it was my first episode after I had made this decision, and I didn't know how much I was going to be able to do, what I was going to be able to do, what I wanted to share, or what I was able to share. And so I wasn't able to quite get in depth with like how I was managing it. Really, I was just like making sure that I was eating 3 meals a day and like doing my yoga, but I wasn't, this was not the worst episode I've ever had, and like I know that's common, and I can't really tell you whether the medication that I'm on has helped or not, because I just started it the 14th or 15th, so it hasn't like had the full 4 to 6 weeks to really know. I don't know if it was the medication that made this episode better, or it was just like a fine episode. Like, I definitely had those 2 to 3 days where I just felt like shit, but it was not the worst that I've ever had. Like, I've had episodes where I'm constantly fighting with the people around me. I'm constantly on the edge of tears, and I'm like, I had that, but I was able to sort of come back into myself, and it just didn't feel as disconnected as I usually feel, or I have been feeling the past couple of episodes. So I definitely am interested to see how next month is going to go. Like I said, this video didn't go quite as I wanted it to, but I'm like trying to mentally become okay with that, because I wanted it to be, I feel like, a lot more helpful than it might be. But I know that seeing every type of up and down is going to be helpful, because I started having this feeling of like, well, you know, maybe it's not even real, like maybe I'm not mentally ill, maybe I don't have this thing, maybe I don't have this disorder or this condition, and I'm just like blowing things out of proportion because like, look, it's like not that bad. And I think there's like a certain level of shame and guilt that sort of comes with like not like trying to say like, oh, I don't have that thing, where you're like trying to talk yourself out of it. You're like, you're wasting these people's times, like you told people in your life these things and like it's not even true, like that sort of deal. And I'm sort of trying to battle that, and also battling that I had all of these plans before my episode started about what I wanted this video to be and what I wanted it to do, and I don't necessarily know if it was the most successful for what I wanted it to do, but I did it. And I don't know what it's gonna look like going forward. I don't know, but I'm hoping that if you watched it, that it helped you in some way. If you have been struggling and you didn't know what was going on, or you were just looking for confirmation of what you think might be happening to you, you were able to get some sort of comfort or not feel so alone while watching this. And that's why I'm doing this. I know this is like not my normal content, and this is very, very personal, which is not something that I usually am, but I felt like I had to, almost like I had to use this thing to help people, because I just feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So anyways, that was my week. That was my pre-diagnosis, my diagnosis, everything that I had planned to do, and then a week, an episode. And I hope that you got out of this video what you wanted to get out of the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next one. I don't really know how to close this out, so I hope you are doing well. I hope you are safe and you are in a good place, and if you're not in a good place, I hope you are able to get there, and I hope you have everything that you need, and that you are able to get to a place where you feel some sort of optimism or some sort of relief about something that you might be struggling with, because that is something that this diagnosis has brought me, is a lot of optimism and a lot of relief. And the latter half of that might seem overwhelming as well, because it's kind of like, well, this is who I've been for so long. What does that look like when it is managed, when it is okay? What does that mean? But I hope that you are able to get that. I hope you're able to get that relief. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next one.